What's up, everyone? Coach Edwards here with Developing Young Athletes Network. With over 20 years experience of working with athletes at all different levels, I can tell you this. I've seen athletes get frustrated and struggle with certain things that they can't perform at. And I see parents that don't see these signs. Today, I'm going to show you 5 red flags that can help young athletes that sometimes is not addressed. And here's the thing. I'm going to also provide you ways you can fix this. And parents, stick around because number 3 is usually a red flag sign that parents don't see. So this one can help you, so stay around for that one. But in the meantime, do this. 7 exercises to improve athleticism in any young athlete. Get our free downloadable, it's in the description. These are things you can do at home right now. The videos, we walk you through it. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need any heavy equipment. This is again done with families as well. So get that right now, and let's get to these signs that we can help the athlete get better with. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's look at sign number 1, declining movement quality. So what I mean by that is that sometimes young athletes don't know how to move because they haven't been exposed to a lot of movement. You might have heard the term physical literacy, teaching athletes in space how to move well. That's what I mean by movement quality. Can they move well? Can they jump? Can they land? Can they change direction? Do they have coordination? Some of you parents might say, my child lacks coordination when they perform, right? So what I'm doing is I'm providing you some videos that can help with that. One thing is a lot of kids don't know how to hinge from the hip. This is where a lot of our power comes from. How do we hinge? Take a look at that video. Another thing is, who knows really what is an athletic stance? This is where a lot of in sports, our power position comes from. Take a look at that video. Another thing is this. Take a look at our video here, teaching athletes screening the squat. How do they squat? Because here's the thing. If athletes move inefficiently, inappropriately, it can lead to injury, but you're leaving kinks in the armor. You're leaving leakage in performance, because if they can't do movement well, I don't care how good the skill is, eventually you're not checking this box. These are things that they will eventually catch up with them. So take a look at those videos. And again, this is number 1. So number 2. Consistent energy crashes. What I mean by that is, how many times have you found that your child is tired or fatigued or they're sleepy? I always say this, these are things we ask every athlete before they practice and after they practice. When we're training and we're working with them, did you eat, sleep, and hydrate today? Are you eat, sleeping, and hydrate after you get done? Because athletes lack these areas, these inefficiencies, it'll show up in their performance. Because nowadays, what a lot of athletes are doing, they're playing sports year round, especially if they're in travel sports. There's not a break in the season, as a lot of you parents know. But the question I'm asking all of you, is your athlete eating well? Are they getting proper lean proteins? Are they getting complex carbohydrates? Are they getting water consumption? And what I mean by that is, not when they get to practice and they're thirsty. Are they getting ready to drink and perform before the practice? Are they drinking throughout the day? Has your child cramped in games? Has your child become to practice thirsty? Do they come home? Do they consume enough water during the day? How do you know it? These are things we need to check. And are they getting enough sleep? Sleep for young athletes, we hear 9 to 11 hours. And I know a lot of athletes don't get it, that amount of sleep. But we have to ask ourselves and ask these questions. So do this. The old thing I say, eat, sleep, and hydrate. That's simple. Go ask your kids at the end of practice and the end of games. Your coaches start saying to every young athlete, I need you to eat, sleep, and hydrate. So let's look at number 3. Drum roll, please. This is it. Speed development. Athletes plateau in speed. And the reason being is that speed, everyone, is a skill. But skill needs to have what? Consistency, exposure to it as a stimulus, just like you would for any type of skill in a sport. Let's think about a sport-specific skill. Let's think baseball or softball. Your kids, how often do they do pitching or hitting practice as a skill? In basketball, dribbling or shooting, how often do you deal with that as a skill where you might even have a coach working with them, even in volleyball or soccer? But let me ask you this, how often do you work on speed as a skill? And the thing is, it can't be one time. It can't be with a speed coach for in a month I'm gonna have one time a month for 4 weeks, because it's just like this. If I pull basketball shooting or dribbling or baseball hitting or pitching and I work on it just for a month and I want that athlete to be better at that skill, what's gonna happen? They won't, right? So they need it through the duration, and not only when they're young, but high school, college, even pros still work on this. It's part of the stimulus that they do to train and develop to get that physical quality better. Now, here's one thing you can do to help what the young athletes don't do in practices is, in order to get faster, we need exposure to the stimulus of doing what? Running fast. So here's a simple thing you can do right now at practice at home. 10 to 20 yards, sprinting at 95% of maximum velocity as fast as they can. Here's the thing, time it. But before you do it, make sure you have a good dynamic warm-up. I'm putting videos in the link to cover these areas. Look at the videos in the link below. They're also above my head, flashing above. Some key videos that can help you from a dynamic warm-up, developing speed development in young athletes, and 2 of the best exercises I like, drills to improve acceleration for the young athletes. Make sure you look at those 3. All right, so now let's look at number 4, avoiding certain movements. Now, sometimes athletes can avoid movement because maybe they don't have the efficiency due to underlying weaknesses or imbalances. Sometimes they might have some deficiencies in those areas, meaning maybe they're weak, they can't hold those positions, or there could be some pain involved. So those are 2 things we want to look at. One way to look at to find out there's some inefficiencies there with movement is during a dynamic warm-up. See how your kids move through practice. Do they move well? Start screening that, seeing where those things can break down. Parents, here's something you can do at home too, where there might be some pain involved. Look at how your kids move, going up and down stairs. How do they walk? Do you notice there's a limp? Do you notice weakness? Start even looking in games and practices, looking for these things. I found over the years working with athletes at all different levels, we've been able to address some of those things and catch it before things occur that could be more chronic in or prevent them performing at their better level. Just remember this, become a screener of movement to see how your athletes move. You don't have to be an expert at this, but start paying attention, because when we do, some things can be addressed, or we can at least question it. And Hoffman have you question these things in order for it to get better. So let's look at the next one. And number 5, declining competence. Just remember this, anyone, with competence comes competent. If I'm not competent, whatever that is, it can be a skill in their sport and playing with their friends, whatever that is. If I don't have competency in something, I won't be competent. So the first thing we need to do is build their competence. So how can we do that? Start small. Start with something they're able to do, and we'll progress and improve it from there. Let's say for a fact that they're learning how to dribble in basketball. Maybe they can't jump well. Let's start developing these jumping skills, and we go one step and we measure it. Maybe we can look at goal setting. Now we look at goal setting as well. We set these small incremental goals, or just letting them talk all together. But if we learn to listen and build their competence, with competence, remember this comes confidence.